All right, welcome to Let Freedom Ring. We're on the live stream right now. We've got a little bit of a tradition every year. It's WrestleMania this weekend, so we like to just make some predictions, talk about some of our favorite moments. But I have two guests, members of the Four Families. We got Josh Mears. Josh, tell us a little bit about your show.
So Beyond the Pyro, this week we will not actually be having an episode this weekend for the obvious reasons. You can
Thank
see it
God.
behind me. This is why we're not having an episode this week. But every weekend we all hop on. We have a chat about wrestling this week. We talk about the latest news. Probably have a little bit of arguments. It's kind of a no holds barred thing. But definitely tune in every week. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube. We even have a Twitter. Just follow us. Look us up. Beyond the Pyro. It's look for my little logo. It's red, black, and all that good stuff. Peoples.
All right, another member of the Four Families. We got Kendall Payne Glover. Kendall, no, you got a show. You're a bunch of episodes in. You just had a big guest on the show. Tell us a little bit about your show.
So, wrestling fans unhinged. As in the name, we're unhinged. I don't care. Come on here and argue. Everybody's invited. Um, surprise episode 3 hasn't been taken down, but I am banned from a couple countries. So, I finally got my first 3 bans from a couple countries. So, but no, we just argue. The whole point of the show is to argue. It's to have a different opinion, bring all the smoke. I had Tyree Taylor on a couple weeks ago. Great guy. We'll be having Shane Taylor home soon. VIP World Champion, former Ring of Honor Six-Man Tag Champion, former Ring of Honor Television Champion. And yeah, I'm just come on and talk your stuff. You feel me? You can find us on Facebook. At my personal page, Kendall Payne Glover. I don't really have a business page for Faction Cast. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, yeah, all that good stuff. So,
All right, awesome. Well, we're gonna get right into it. Do you guys have any favorite moments from WrestleMania? I know there's so many. Going back all these years, Josh, what are some of your favorite moments?
The first one that comes to mind was the first time that your boy cried over wrestling. That would be WrestleMania 26, the end of an era in the form of Shawn Michaels' retirement match. I had gotten into wrestling because of Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is my all-time favorite. So seeing Shawn Michaels go out in a blaze of glory the way he did and know that his career was officially over, I'm not going to lie, I shed a few tears. Other than that, backing it up, I'm really going to double down on Shawn Michaels. I'm sorry. But the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, don't even try to fight me on it because I will not listen to any other options. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25. Such a banger of a match.
It's my favorite. Yeah,
it's one of the greatest matches of all time, and by far, in my opinion, the best WrestleMania match of all time.
I think that's why you see so many false finishes now. But they knocked it out of the park, and then it became like a big thing after. But they kind of changed a lot with that match.
I mean, there's just so many moments to really recant, but those are like the top 2. Whenever someone's like, "Hey, what's your favorite?" I guarantee you, it's Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. Whether you're talking moment or match, it's those 2.
Awesome. How about you, Kendall?
first one I want to bring up, they had the anniversary yesterday or 2 days ago. I'm sorry. I love you. um, Ric Flair, quote unquote retiring. But retirement match. um, so much emotion, so much passion. It wasn't the greatest match, but to have Shawn Michaels show emotion and him to get him like, come on, hit me, come on, and just cry. And that was one of the greatest. Another Ric Flair, because Ric Flair is my favorite. This might seem like a small moment, but for him to be in his 60s and take a bump off a ladder in that Money in the Bank ladder match the year before, was it? And I'm like, this man has no business competing in the ladder match in his 60s. But for him to take a side effect from Matt Hardy off a ladder and he actually got hurt, which is not surprising because you're 60. The other one is shout out to Dylan, Heist of the Century. Um, that was the greatest moment in WrestleMania history. I don't care what you say. And last but not least, this is going to count as one. They should have a third match, settle the score. Rock versus Cena.
I
Two,
would, I would love
another
that.
two of the other two of them. Even though I think the second one had more of a build to it, the first one was just like, oh, we're gonna have a match. But Cena's road to redemption to try to beat The Rock. I want to beat The Rock. I want to have a match with you. I want so I can beat you. And one day we need to have that third match. So score Rock versus Cena.
If you want to see Rock versus Cena, just watch Fast and Furious.
I got to be there for the second time in a lifetime at 29. So
Yeah. Once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime.
yeah, well but they told everybody at WrestleMania 28 this will never happen again, and obviously it did. Which they do that in wrestling. Obviously, I just watched a bunch of manias where Macho Man loses a career-ending match at WrestleMania 7, can never wrestle again. He's a champion by WrestleMania 8. He's on commentary by WrestleMania 9, and then he's actually back on the card by 10. But I've said a lot of moments that I've enjoyed on the show. This is the third year we've done a WrestleMania special show, so I will just kind of point out. I rewatched WrestleMania 8 the other day, and man, that was supposed to be Hulk Hogan's possibly his last match. They kind of set it up as it may be his last match, maybe not. Man, that crowd was hot for Hogan against Sid, and obviously the ending with the return of the Ultimate Warrior looking very different at WrestleMania 8. He'd come off steroids or whatever he was doing, but man, I highly recommend that pay per view. Also, Macho Man and Ric Flair was just fantastic. So but all right, I want to talk about the Hall of Fame real quick. We got some, I think four. We got a tag team, then three others going in. Um, am I missing? Yeah, I think I have them all.
Yeah, I think it's just three singles. There's three wrestlers, and then there's the Warrior Award, and then there's tag team.
Yes,
I
yes.
use the term wrestlers very lightly, and we'll get into that in a minute.
I do want to give a shout out to Shad Gasper. I didn't actually put that into the agenda. He is getting the Warrior Award. Everybody that knows who he is, a real life hero, saved his son from drowning. It did cost him his life. He is getting the Warrior Award. I don't think anybody deserves that more than he does.
I'm actually a big supporter of the movement to rename the Warrior Award to the Shad Gaspard Award after this year. I feel like he embodies that award so much that the award should actually be named after him.
Yeah, always a lot of controversy because of things that Jim Hellwig had said in his life. And they say it's named after the Ultimate Warrior character, not things that he did in his actual life, but I don't disagree with you there. First Hall of Famer we got going in, I want to talk about this because it was a little controversial on whether people thought Queen Charmel deserves to go in. Kendall, I'll let you start on that. Your thoughts on Charmel getting the nod to the Hall of Fame?
Like I said in the group chat, I hope they have her go first because I totally want to miss that because I will be going to another show before that, and I just hope they have her go first. So I miss it. If I do miss anything, on coming down to Iowa, which is another show for families, we named off like 10 women's wrestlers who can go in before her. Like, okay, she was a Nitro girl. Woo woo, you shake your ass on TV. Wow. They were King Buckeyes' wife, and manager. Is that really Hall of Fame worthy? Then again, we do have Donald Trump, Drew Carey, Snooki in the WWE Hall of Fame, so that's a
Celebrity
problem.
wing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with the celebrity wing. Like, I think it's a cool addition, but not all those celebrities really did anything. I would even say, even in their moment, that were Hall of Fame worthy. Honestly, like Drew Carey was there for a split second in the Rumble. Like that wasn't like what are you defining as a celebrity Hall of Famer?
If Drew Carey makes it, then Bad Bunny is a surefire celebrity wing Hall of Famer.
Oh, without question at this
Like
point.
100%.
They really wanted to put Lawrence Taylor in. I mean, he would fit the mold for that too, but he has no interest. Josh, your thoughts on Queen Charmel?
Who cares? That's my thoughts. I have never once said, wow, Charmel deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Honest to God, until they announced it, I kind of forgot she was even in WWE because of how lackluster everything she did was. In WWE, and here's the thing. And I might irritate some people when I say this, but I mean it when I say it. This is the WWE Hall of Fame, not the WCW Hall of Fame. I could care less what she did in WCW. I don't care if she was a Nitro girl. All she did in WWE was just dress up in a dress, put a tiara on, and walk with King Booker down the ramp for maybe a year, if that. Who cares? She didn't do nothing credible. If the precedent that this sets is that if Charmel can make it into the Hall of Fame, everyone who has ever stepped in between the ropes, good or bad, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Shout out to Johnny Burke, Hall of Famer.
It takes away the glory and the glamour of being a Hall of Famer because she did nothing credible to earn it. Did she even wrestle a match in WWE?
Not that I can't really recall much outside of just a short stint of walking Booker down. Love the Booker T gimmick there, the King Booker, but yeah, I don't know.
No, to come to memory, I watched the review show WrestleMania 22. She was in the handicap match against the Boogeyman with Booker T.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. I'm not saying some of the stuff she didn't do was entertaining. It's just like there just wasn't a lot of it, to say you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm not saying she had a bad run. It's not a Hall of Fame run by any means. Like, when you say who should go in the Hall of Fame, Charmel never comes up in that conversation. How she's the one female getting inducted this year, I'll never understand. I truly won't.
Yeah, I was truly surprised by that decision. But here's one I'm not, and I wish that he got to go in when he was alive. But we got Vader, Big Van Vader, going into the Hall of Fame. Man, did a lot in New Japan, WCW. I would say his worst run was probably in the World Wrestling Federation, though there was a lot of good stuff that he did. Josh, what are your thoughts on Vader going in?
Overdue. Should have been years ago. Vader should have been with us to accept this award. This is such an overdue induction. I'm happy it's finally happening. I'm just mad it took so long. Vader did a lot to set up, in my mind, Vader's one of the guys that really made it possible for big men. People say Andre a Giant, but Andre a Giant did it more for giants. Vader did it for the big men. All right. Big men represent here. Vader, he did a lot for the business, and it's a shame that he won't be with us, even though apparently Nikki Bella thinks he is.
Yeah, I did see that tweet.
I don't understand that at all. He's been publicly gone for a few years. This isn't news. But it's a shame we won't get to hear from Vader himself. But it's definitely way more worthy than Charmel, and it should have, like I said, it should have been years ago. It should have been years ago.
Yeah, and I want to point out, not a lot of big guys move like him and Bam Bam Bigelow, and Bigelow is another guy that needs to be in there. Kendall, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, according to Nikki Bella, we're going to hear. She can't wait to hear his speech at the Hall of Fame. I don't know.
I can't wait to hear it either. I'm excited to see how they're going to pull that off.
Yeah, unless they're going to pull some Tupac, we're going to have a hologram out there. Pre-recorded hologram, guys. That's what's going to happen. But, all seriousness, he, like Josh said, he set the way for big men in the wrestling business. I enjoy his work in New Japan. Enjoy his work in WCW, and it's overdue.
Yeah, I wish that they did listen to Mick Foley, because Mick Foley made a plea. He knew Vader was really sick and just said, please get him in. I forget what year. It might have been like 2017. Someone can look that up. But yeah, he was like pleading with them, get him in now because he might not be here next year. So really great to see him go in. Here's one I'm shocked about, not because they don't deserve it, just because we all know Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner is not the biggest fan of WWE, but obviously Rick's son Braun Breaker has obviously opened up the door to, I think, have the Steiner brothers come in. And man, what a career did they have! Scott goes on to really even have a world champion type career as well. But they were like the hardest hitting tag team I can think of outside of LOD. Kendall, what do you think of them going in?
A 33.3% chance. If you step in the ring South Steiner,
If you didn't make the joke, I was.
but happy. We all know the big bad booty daddy is not the big fan of you, like you said, but glad you're getting in. Like you said with Vader, not a run WWE, but WCW, even TNA, they have a run, but deserves Braun Baker, WWE champion.
Agreed. I love Braun Breaker. Josh, what do you think in the Steiners?
I mean, great, but I'm kind of with you, Dan. I was a little shocked considering, Scott Steiner being half of this tag team that they agreed to get inducted. I mean, I'd have to assume that probably Rick and Braun were just kind of like, so listen here. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to show up. You're going to shut up. And so I don't know. Steiners are a great tag team. They 100% deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I know I just said like 5 minutes ago about Charmel. I don't care what you did in WCW, but they did enough. All right, they were more than just Nitro Girls. So they changed tag team wrestling. Scott Steiner's had a great career outside of the Steiner brothers. In WWE, it was kind of meh.
They didn't know what to do with him, and the matches with Triple H just weren't good enough.
But then again, that's the story with WWE and like every WCW guy ever. They didn't know what to do. Look at DDP, Sting. I mean, we can go on for the rest of the night talking about that.
It took them until Goldberg came back to start being like, oh yeah, let's push him, because he got a little bit of one, but like, when Goldberg lost at the Elimination Chamber, he lost all his ore.
Yeah. So, as far as the Steiner brothers go, I can't wait to see it. I'm excited to see what Scott Steiner is going to say once he has a live mic. But 100%, if anyone but Braun Breaker inducts them, they missed a incredible opportunity.
And I think that's a huge rub for Braun Breaker, and I wish they would just let him wrestle under the name Steiner, but it is what it is. Now here's the big one, and man, you want to talk about a guy who did everything possible in wrestling. Debatably the greatest of all time. The Undertaker, Mark Calloway, is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. He retired finally in 2020. Man, there's just so much. I mean, what can't you say about The Undertaker? What do you think about that, Josh?
It's overdue. I mean, honestly, 2021, it's a gong. 2021, he should have been. Honestly, 2020, he should have been in, but I understand why they didn't. Undertaker is a guy who they could have put in 10, 20 years ago, and he still would have been very credible. He could have been the first guy to really have a run after being a Hall of Famer. Undertaker transcends wrestling. I'm sorry. He's one of the names that when you hear The Undertaker, whether you're a wrestling fan now, if you're a wrestling fan 20 years ago, if you're not even a wrestling fan at all, you at least have some semblance of an idea who The Undertaker is. I was actually very firm about this when they started the Hall of Fame announcements and all. Undertaker should have been the first guy to get an entire Hall of Fame ceremony to himself. He should have been a solo inductee. They should have done like an ESPN 30 for 30 kind of documentary, had several people come up and do speeches. It should have been a whole event because Undertaker transcends it. Undertaker is the definition of the Hall of Fame. Without the Undertaker in the Hall of Fame was just a ceremony. The Undertaker makes the Hall of Fame a Hall of Fame. He's 100% deserving. And if anybody has anything to say about the Undertaker not belonging in the Hall of Fame, then go away. No one wants to hear from you.
Kendall, what are your thoughts?
Just to get on the doctor's nerves real quick, Straw Mill deserves to be in the Hall of Fame more than...
You're done. You're done. I'm flying to Texas tonight.
I wasn't saying to get on your nerves, but another thing, I think Andre the Giant, didn't he get a induction by himself?
Yeah, but it was nothing. If he might have. The Hall of Fame was nothing like it is now.
Yeah, it wasn't like a whole event like it is now. Like now they have like all the pomp and circumstance. Back then it was like, oh, he's going in the Hall of Fame. Hey, you're in the Hall of Fame.
They ignored the Hall of Fame for like almost a decade. Maybe, like, and then in 2004 they're like, oh, this could be cool, like to do this WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah. So, but I'm glad he got in. Fellow Cowboys fan, by the way. Shout out, smart man. But 30-year career, multiple great matches. He did part-time like a decade. And I watched the last Rod and made me tear up because it was like, oh, he's going to wrestle once a year. Then he has to go do hip surgery and all blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, his body is really crumbling. He can't take it anymore. And makes that. And one of the guys I grew up watching. And now he's going to the Hall of Fame. And we do not own the rights to that music Josh played. So
it's a gong.
Yeah.
I have a gong in my studio that I'm hitting. That's all it is.
What I will say, I mean, Undertaker terrified me as a child. Absolutely terrified me. When he beat Hulk Hogan, I've admitted this many times, I cried. I was so upset when Hogan lost the Taker. So he knew how to terrify children, that's for sure. And then he switches to a babyface role for a number of years. I remember when he showed up and was part of the All-Americans team at Survivor Series 93. And it's the legendary career just kept growing and growing in the 90s. He finally gets the title back in 97, beating Sid at WrestleMania 13. But then, he was there before the Attitude Era. And then he was definitely one of the MVPs of WWE throughout the Attitude Era. But it doesn't end there. He keeps going into the 2000s, and to think that he kept wrestling until 2020 is really crazy. I know that over the years he had to calm it down a little bit, but he'd wrestle maybe one match a year and have the best match at WrestleMania. He would pull out all the stops. And I got to say, I wish the streak didn't end the way that it did. Was Brock the guy? Probably. But, man, if he was still going to wrestle at numerous more Manias, wish they didn't do it that way.
My biggest thing about that is I still feel, and I mean, looking back on it, I think I probably would have been mad about it. But at the time, I was mad about it because I thought, if anything, Undertaker's streak should have been lost to someone like Bray Wyatt to pass the torch. And they didn't do that. They had Brock, a part-timer, break the streak, which avoided the possibility of that building a new star. I didn't like the fact that Brock was the one that did it because it doesn't help build anyone.
I will say, though, Brock was only back in the company for a year by the time he did that. It did skyrocket. He came back in his first match. He lost to John Cena, right? And they had to really build him back up. And so this is 2 years because he lost to Triple H. But
he came back in 12. This was in 14.
Yeah, but this is where this kind of led to him being the champion. And now we've seen Brock Lesnar be the champion a lot.
Because, can you imagine, within a span of 2 years, Lesnar losing 3 times? I know it's going to be big name opponents, but,
Sorry, Leo. I don't know who you are, but I think you're tripping.
Leo is actually the host of
Um,
Ring of All Other Sports. He is the inspiration behind Let Freedom Ring.
I'm sorry. Mad respect to them, but I think you're tripping. I don't. I 100% don't. I don't think Brock was the right guy. I
I
really
will
don't.
say this. I will say this. I think it was Taker was the one that wanted him to do it. He was the most believable to end the streak. But I'll tell you what. I remember watching that match, being in and out of it. I had a lot of people over, um, and we were all so shocked when that happened. Unbelievably shocked.
Cause I think what's going to happen was him keeping the way it was. Besides Brock beating it, have Roman and have Roman turn heel in.
That's what I was about to say because like the big thing is like 2 years later, but not 2 years later, but a few years later. I think it was like 4 years later. Wasn't it 34 that Roman beat Undertaker? It was one of the. It was
Yeah,
one of those manias,
2017
and
it was.
and then like yeah, so 3 manias later, Roman beats him, and then the next night comes out. He's like, "This is my yard now." Like that would have been prime heel heat if the streak was
Especially
on the
like
line.
Taker
Like,
would have been what 25-0.
yeah,
If he would have beat Brock, he would have been 22. 3 years later, 25-0.
yeah,
Yeah,
been 25-0, and then Roman break the streak, and then we could have had heel Roman then because he was already getting booed out of the arena when he said, "This is my yard now." Imagine if that meant he also broke the streak. We would have had this Roman years ago.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think like they made so much money off Brock Lesnar over these years, where like yeah, I don't know. I think he was the right guy, just because he's always been like the huge, main eventer since then.
I don't.
Um,
I still don't think it was the right guy because I've also heard that Brock Lesnar didn't want to be the guy. Like,
no, there was. Do you know that they had the show, like the little incident that Undertaker and Brock had at the UFC one time?
mm,
yeah, I
Brock
saw
got
that.
knocked out, and he was like, "You want to do this right now?" Undertaker, I think at that point had already kind of been like, "I got to do something big with this guy," you know. But anyways, big ups to all the Hall of Famers. It's going to be great.
except Charmel. No big ups to Charmel.
Yeah,
I
but
refuse.
let's talk about this real quick. We got NXT Stand Deliver coming up. That's going to
Stacked.
happen. That's going to happen
Absolutely stacked.
on Saturday
Yeah,
before
WrestleMania
before
at the
WrestleMania.
American Airlines Arena, which the third seed Dallas Mavericks. By the way,
No one cares.
We got the women's tag titles. We got Toxic Attraction versus Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Which I'm shocked. I haven't got to watch a full up. I've been tuning in a lot to see Breaker and Carmelo, so I've been fast forwarding through some stuff. How did they get back together?
So basically, this past week, Toxic Attraction was out, kind of talking some mess, about how we're gonna go into Stand and Deliver as the champions, and we're leaving as the champions, and blah 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 blah. Dakota Kai, they had apparently attacked Wendy Chu earlier in the night, and Dakota Kai was trying to figure out who did it, and then Toxic Attraction kind of like dumped Wendy Chu's stuff out in the ring, so Dakota knew it was them, so she came out and tried to attack them. Well, I know we're not doing Steiner math here, but 1-on-3 never ends well. So then all of a sudden we hear Raquel Gonzalez's music hit, and then she comes out and starts piecing everybody up. And then they clear the ring, and then her and Dakota kind of have a moment, and Raquel extends her hand, and Dakota slaps it away, jumps up, and gives her a Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley hug.
Okay, so they brought him back. I want to get to these, but one more comment from Leo. Why would they let a guy beat Taker and then what? He doesn't work for the company no more, and so they made the right choice.
I mean, I
Brock's the best thing in wrestling right now, which I don't disagree. I think
I
Brock
don't
is.
disagree right now, but I will say, like I said, Bray Wyatt, knowing they ended up releasing him, I don't feel it may have been the right call, but I do feel like Roman would have been a better choice. A couple that was 3 years later, I feel like that would have been more impactful. I mean, whatever, it's fine. It's in the past. I was just a little upset that they chose a part timer to break the streak. That was my thing. That's all.
Any prediction? So predictions on this match. I guess we got an odd number here, so we can kind of figure that out. I'm going Toxic Attraction to retain. Kendall?
Yeah, I'm going Toxic Attraction. Don't know why they didn't move Raquel up to the main roster. She's been hurt, maybe, I don't know. But it's time for Raquel to move up to the main roster. They need more women, so Toxic Attraction.
Josh?
I think it's going to be a banger of a match. I think there's going to be a few close calls for Raquel and Dakota, but I think Toxic Attraction is going to win it just because I think Raquel is destined for the main roster.
It should be a good fit there. There's no doubt about that.
I feel like this would be a great going away match, and then her show up night after Mania. That's what I think.
Giving her one last time of her and Dakota Kai together.
Yeah, it's a great send off. So, but I see Toxic winning.
Great send off. You being quiet.
I wouldn't touch. Honestly, we're gonna get into it, but ladder match, North American title, Hayes versus Escobar, versus Solo Sikoa versus Grayson Waller. Champion is Carmelo Hayes
and Cameron Grimes.
Oh, I forgot Cameron Grimes.
To the moon, baby.
Josh, who are you picking?
Well, I kind of just did the thing. So my thing is, this is the perfect way to do it. Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes wins the ladder match. I have many reasons, but the main ones is simply Cameron Grimes has never actually won a title outside of that $1 million championship. We're not talking about that. He's been after this North American title. His gimmick is over. This is the perfect time to do it without making Carmelo look weak. This is a 5-way ladder match where Carmelo can put on an absolute banger of a performance, lose the title, and still look strong. So I think this is the time to take the title off Carmelo, put him in the world title picture, and send Cameron Grimes and the North American title to the moon.
Kendall, who are you going with?
Solo Sikoa. Don't know. Uso's little brother. It's his time. He's the Street Fighter. He lost to Walter. I'm calling him Walter, not calling him that other stuff. Yeah, this is the perfect time for Carmelo to lose. I said this one coming down the aisle. As long as they don't pair Solo with his brothers, he will be okay. And I think this is the best time for him to win the championship. If not, then Grimes. So either Sikoa or Grimes.
All right, I'm going Carmelo Hayes just because of the promos they've done. I think they're going to build him up a little bit more. If I were to pick someone number 2, I would say Grayson Waller. But
anyone but Waller. My God, anyone but Waller.
I like him. Let's see here. Now we got another. This should be a great match. Tommaso Ciampa, Tony D'Angelo. I would like to say that you're going to go with the younger guy, but I'm going to go Tommaso Ciampa here. The way this feud is kind of gone, I think I don't think a loss will hurt Tony D'Angelo. I'm going to go Tommaso. Josh.
If we had done this Monday, I would have said Tommaso. After Tuesday, I have to say Tony D. I don't know if you saw that because I know you said you haven't really had a chance to watch much of it, but Ciampa cut a promo talking about how basically it had a very send-off-y vibe. And he said, the fans and I, you've been with me this whole time throughout the 5 miscarriages with my wife until us finally having our daughter. We created black and gold magic together. And if this is it, we're going to create that magic one last time. And then instead of throwing his chair like he normally does in his backstage promos, he just laid it up against the wall. And it had his debut date in NXT to April 2nd, 2022. I think this is Ciampa's send-off from NXT. And I don't see him going out a winner. I see him putting over the young guy. So I think Tony D wins this match.
Kendall.
Yeah, I see him putting over the new guy. I know he's totally against going to the main roster, but there's nothing else left for you to do in NXT.
No.
Been there for 7 years, 8 years. and you have to go to the main roster, even if that is you getting quote unquote buried. Have to go somewhere, and whether it's being a producer or what. Yeah, I see him going out losing, and maybe we see him win Money in the Bank, something like that.
I'd be down
Yeah,
for that.
I would like to see him on the main roster. I know we've talked about that quite a bit. It starts to get to a point where it's like it's time. It's time to move on. So NXT Women's Title match: Mandy Rose champion versus Cora Jade versus Io Shirai and versus Kaylee Ray. Kendall, you start.
Cora Jade, just because she has Jade in her name, and we all know the Jade I love so much.
Josh.
I thought we were going to agree, and we do, but not for the same reason. I think Cora Jade's going to win. And the only reason is I think Mandy Rose, if she wins this match, there's really no one else in NXT for her to really face. Like, there's really no other credible champion. There's really no other credible championship contenders. I can't see Io winning it. I can't see Kaylee Ray winning it. Cora Jade, they have built so well to be kind of like that massive underdog story that I see them putting that title on her to create a new fresh pot of challengers, because now we have a face champion who can face heel challengers.
No, I like that. I'm sticking with Mandy. I still think Toxic Attraction is a great stable. I feel like it'd be too soon for her to lose it. I also a lot of my picks for people retaining is because of what I think the main event's going to happen. But all right, tag titles: Imperium versus the Creed Brothers versus MSK. I'll start this. Wow, I don't know. I'm gonna say I think the Creed Brothers are ready. Um, I like all the teams in this match, but I really like the Creed Brothers. Really like what I've seen out of them. I like, amateur wrestlers that come into wrestling. Everybody knows that. As we've talked about Gable Steveson a lot. Josh, who are you picking?
Creed brothers. I think it's time. They won the Dusty Classic. They never really got a fair shot. I think it's time for them to go over, take the titles off Imperium, because I don't care. I love Imperium, their talent. I've just not, the story's not been built for me to care. I don't care about Imperium as champions, if that makes sense. MSK, love MSK. MSK's a great team. I feel MSK really needs to turn heel. I just feel like they need to do that, because now they need to mix it up somehow. But Creed Brothers are there. They put on banger matches, and they have one of the greatest mouths in NXT, Malcolm frickin' Bivens. And I want to hear Malcolm Bivens doing some promos about the tag team champions, the Creed Brothers. So, Creed Brothers.
I really do enjoy Malcolm. What about you, Kendall?
We're going for the sweep. Creed Brothers, all the way. Same reason was Josh. Feel like I want to see Malcolm Bivens cut some promos. About them winning the tag team titles. Gunther and Imperium need to move their butts to the main roster, because we need the tag team on the main roster. So Imperium needs to lose. And MSK is not winning because, from what I've seen on Twitter, one of them has allegations. So,
there's been some heat about that.
Yeah, so one of them has allegations that they need to resolve.
If anything, he taking the pin this weekend.
Yeah.
Here's a good one: LA Knight versus Gunter.
Gunther.
What do we think here? I know everybody hates the new name. I know people hate the new name. Josh, any opinion on that?
I think LA Knight beats Walter. I refuse to use that name. He's still Walter to me, damn it. No, I think LA Knight, I feel like Walter, Gunther, whatever you want to call him, Big Bad Booty Daddy 2, I don't care. I think Walter, I think Gunther, I'm like, God, I can't, I've broken myself. I can't call him that anymore. I think he was brought over here to kind of be like a big hurdle because he's not really been, to me, he's not been booked like he's a serious contender for a world title. He's just kind of like, I'm here. I'm big. I do big things. Like LA Knight. Oh my dude, I have loved LA Knight since he was Eli Drake. I'm
Dummy. Yeah.
I'm kind of upset they don't let him do the dummy.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. I'm like, just say the whole thing. Call him a dummy, Eli. Call him a dummy. But I think LA Knight's a star in the making. Dude's gimmick is being a megastar. He is a megastar. That dude has everything lined up to give him the moon. I think LA Knight goes over here.
Kendall?
Gunther goes over. Like I said, they one of Imperium, 1/3 of Imperium needs to win. Gives them the momentum to go to the main roster. So 1/3 has to win.
Using that Steiner math now.
Yeah, 1/3, 33% chance to win it. Yeah. So you'll see Gunther winning, but Eli Drake will be going to a feud with whoever wins the North American title. Josh, you're a dummy. Yeah.
I'm going Gunter. Just because I think, coming over here and having a big loss on a big show would not be good for him. I don't know what they're really doing with LA Knight. And I love LA Knight, but it's like I'm not sure if they even know what the plan is for him.
I mean, they obviously don't care about Walter, though. I mean, they're just like, yeah, your name's Gunther now. It's literally the same syllables and doesn't sound that different, but your name's Gunther now.
Well,
So they
I
don't
guess
care about him over here. That's obvious.
I don't know if it's not they don't care about him. I think they want him to copyright something, and he has the copyrights on Walter. So yeah, they do that all the time. That's like,
I mean, it's better than Butch.
yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
a fan.
I just before we get going, did they say when Steve Austin KO is going to be?
End of
The
night.
main event segment of night one.
All right, well, let's get right into that. What do we think is going to happen here? We don't know,
Hold on. Did we skip over Ziggler and Breaker?
Oh, wait, I apologize. You're right.
I'm about to say that's like the match I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, hold on. I have so many of these in here that I'm like, okay.
Dude, trust me, I've been there.
NXT Championship, Dolph Ziggler versus Braun Breaker, and again, yes, I am looking forward to this big time. I was shocked when Dolph Ziggler won the title. I think that was one of the coolest shocks in a long time, and I love when they can shock the audience. But I got Braun Breaker retaining this. I don't think he's going to the main roster just yet. So I think Breaker comes in here and he beats a WWE main roster guy. Josh, what do you think?
Look, this is hard because like
That's what
I
she
see
said.
Breaker getting the title back, and because Dolph is not an NXT guy, he's a main roster guy. Dolph was always supposed to be a transitional champion. At the same time, I know they want Braun on the main roster, so I don't know, but I feel like they have to put the title back on Braun, so I'm going to go with Braun, and I can't wait to see that absolute beautiful piece of artwork that is Braun Breaker's spear when Ziggler's the one selling it.
That's going to be awesome. Kendall, what are you going with?
Dolph. I think Dolph is going to lose it to Carmelo Hayes. So that would be a big win for Carmelo.
That'd be a hell of a match.
Yeah, instead of beating one of his foes, he can be a former world champion, and that could give Carmelo Hayes a push. So I think Braun Breaker, he could go to the main roster. Him versus Gable Stevenson. Give it to me right now. Yeah, so that's all I think about it. Braun Breaker to the main roster. Induct his dad and uncle.
What do you think the Steiners were, sir?
All right, so that's going to get us to WrestleMania. Really excited for all these shows. NXT is going to be fantastic. as we can clearly see with that. Now, I want to get this one out of the way. Steve Austin, KO. We have really no idea what this is going to be because they never really said. It might be a match, it might be a fight, it might be whatever. I'm not sure what Stone Cold is capable of doing. I'm not sure with his health. Not that I think he's in decline, but obviously he had a serious neck injury that forced him out 19 years ago. Kendall? What do you think happens here?
We're gonna get a whole bunch of what? Gonna get a whole bunch of stunners. Gonna get a whole bunch of beers. We're gonna start the crowd. No, fuck. And the crowd
The
with a
Freedom
good
Ring
time.
family show.
Okay. They're gonna end the night off with a good. They're gonna send the crowd home happy. And to send the crowd off happy, they're gonna have Stone Cold do his usual what? Stunner, beer. Have some beers with the crowd. Then we're gonna go home happy. Be like, yeah, Stone Cold. You see that? Stone Cold. Um, and we're gonna be excited for night two, which I think night two. The only reason we're gonna be excited for is Roman and Brock, but they're gonna get us excited. So yeah,
Josh, what are you thinking? Are you thinking similar?
So it's hard, because what's throwing me off here, I can't see Stone Cold coming back for a full match. I'm sorry, I can't. But they keep promoting it like the first time in 19 years. But if it's just a segment where he comes out, hits a couple stunners, chugs a few beers, and sends the crowd home happy, he's done that several times in them 19 years. Several times. So they keep promoting it 19 years, so it's almost like it's going to be a match. But it also is like it's not. So I don't even know if Vince knows what's going on Saturday night. But I think at bare minimum, we're going to get approximately 5 stunners, 8 beers. I think Kevin Owens is probably going to bite his own tongue. There's no way Kevin's going to outstun Stone Cold. It's just not going to happen.
I can't see Stone Cold even taking a stunner because I just don't know if he can. I mean, if he hasn't done that, he's never really gotten beat up in the 19 years when he comes out that I can think of. It might have been a few times, but my guess, if they're trying to say this is kind of a match, I think he's going to get in there. And I think KO will get a little bit of offense. They're going to send a referee in. And then Austin just starts whooping him. And he hits a stunner. And I think there will be a 3 count. Or what Austin will do is count his own 3 count. Do you know what I mean? Something along those lines. I'm not sure. I mean, first it was like this is gonna be a fight. Now it was a KO show. I don't think they even know what they're actually gonna do until they get there.
If it's a match, it's going to be like The Rock and Eric Rowan.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to be like, you know what? Get a referee out here. Ding, ding, ding. Stunner. 1, 2, 3. Like, that's going to be the match. It's going to be a match.
Yeah, and I don't see Austin in any shape or form wearing ring gear to the ring at all.
At best, we're going to get him in jorts.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. All right, that's going to take us to Raw's tag team title. Raw Women's Championship. Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. Both women's titles on the on night one, which I thought was kind of odd.
Well, no one cares about either match. That's why.
I mean, I actually do care about both personally. This is Bianca's revenge here on Becky, even though she cut her hair, which makes me feel like Becky's going to win. But Kendall, what's your prediction?
Bianca gets her revenge, and for the first time in over 600 days, Becky won't be champion of the main roster, which is kind of odd. I seen that, I was like, what? But yeah, Bianca gets her revenge from SummerSlam. They have their rematch at Backlash. Then it's rumored that they're gonna have not Money in the Bank, but I think Survivor Series or something like that in Saudi. So they might defend that the Saudi event, and I don't know, but I'll see Bianca going over in her event.
Josh?
I want to preface this by saying when I say I don't care about either of these women's matches, it's not because I don't care about the women in the matches. We've all talked about this. This match should be Becky versus Ronda. It should be. That was the match that was designed. So this match means nothing to me, and the SmackDown Women's Title match means nothing to me because the wrong people are in the wrong matches. As far as this match goes, I think Becky wins. I'm sorry. I just, like you said, Dan, if it wasn't for the haircutting segment Monday, I'd probably say Bianca wins the title. But I think Becky retains because, as we all know, WWE and their wonderful booking strategies, the person who gets the upper hand, the go-home show before a pay-per-view, 9 times out of 10 is the one taking the loss.
Yeah, I agree. Beforehand, I thought there's no way that Bianca loses this match, right? That happening on Raw made me go, okay, she needed to get her butt whipped on Monday night, and it makes sense for the babyface to happen if they're going to win the title on the weekend. So now I'm flipping back to Becky, which I think is unfortunate because the whole thing was that Bianca got beaten what? How many seconds at SummerSlam?
21.
21 seconds. A babyface got beat that fast. I mean, Bianca has to get her revenge in a win too. So that's tough to call. You know what? I can't see I can't see them doing Bianca dirty twice. I think she actually wins this, but we'll see.
I wouldn't have been mad. Like everybody said during the SummerSlam event, I wouldn't have been mad if it was like a 10-minute match and Becky went over. But you had her lose 21 seconds.
Yeah, and as a baby face, like when that happens to a heel, it's not really a big deal. I remember when when Daniel Bryan got his head kicked off at WrestleMania, people made a big deal, but like it didn't hurt Daniel Bryan's career or credibility at all because he was the bad guy showing off to his girlfriend, gets his head kicked in. What's the motivation of having a baby face lose that fast? Is there do something different? I guess. That's going to bring us to. Let's see here. The Mysterios versus Miz and Logan Paul. I'm actually kind of curious to see what Logan Paul is able to do here. But I'm going to go with the Mysterios. I can't see them losing the celebrity match. Josh, what do you think?
Honestly,
now.
I swear, Kendall, I'm gonna book a flight to Texas. I actually think Miz and Logan Paul win. Just because we started kind of seeing cracks in the whole Mysterio deal, like between Dominic and Ray. And then Miz and Logan playing their absolutely beautiful mind games when it comes to the luchador culture. Stealing the mask and Logan Paul coming out like a total D-bag wearing Ray's mask, like, this is funny. Just playing absolute mind games with him. I feel like Ray is going to want to get revenge, even to the point that if Dominic has the match won, Ray's going to tag himself in, and that's just going to cause more division between them, leading up to the feud between Dominic and Ray. So I think Miz and Logan actually win this, mainly because. Also, how many times does WWE now have the celeb go over?
Yeah, no, I agree, but this is this is a hated celebrity. Like people do not like
a
this
lot
guy.
of celebrities are hated celebrities if you talk to the right people.
Kendall, what do you think?
I think the Mysterios go over because they instruct the lucha culture. That's something you don't do. That's an unwritten rule of wrestling. You don't take a luchador's mask. So they're going to get revenge for all the luchadors out there. And Dominic and Ray, I don't think it'll be like a feud to where, oh, they hate each other, father. So I think it'll be like, okay, son, it's your time now. You have one last task to earn the mask, which makes no sense because we already look like someone wear a mask. But yeah, I think it won't be like, oh my God, Ray's gonna turn on Dominic thing. It's gonna be like, okay, son, we have one last task to earn the mask. You have to beat me at SummerSlam, and they're gonna build towards that.
At what point does Dominic say, "Hey, are you my father or is Eddie Guerrero my father?"
Oh God, please let that happen.
Like,
Please let that happen.
I bring that up because they actually made an action figure of Dominic as a child from that feud. At what point, like, is that just something like, hey, we just kind of pretended like that never happened, like we're never going to talk about it, but like in the storyline, Eddie Guerrero is Dominic's biological father. Like, I don't know, something that's they just have never addressed. I don't want to spend too much time on this for time's sake. Happy Corbin, Drew McIntyre, Kendall, who you picking?
Drew's gonna Claymore kick his freaking head off. Oh, Drew.
Josh?
Yeah, he's gonna kick his head in so hard he's sad Corbin again.
That's, yeah. All I can hope is that this is a short match and we get a few Claymore kicks. So Drew McIntyre. Here's one that I think secretly I'm really excited about. SmackDown Tag Team titles: The Usos versus Rick Boogs and Nakamura. Josh, who you picking?
One and done. The Usos. Plain and simple. I can't take Boogs and Nakamura seriously as a tag team yet. I feel like they're just kind of throwing it back. Wow, we have no one to challenge the Usos for SmackDown tag titles. And they just happen to walk through catering and see Rick Boogs playing air guitar, practicing for when he has his actual one. And they're like, you know what? You guys. That's how I feel like this match was booked. I honestly couldn't care less about it. I mean, it's probably gonna be a good match, but there was no build. I think the Usos picked this one up.
Kendall?
My opinion, if they weren't doing what they were doing on SmackDown, I think Usos and Los Anotarios will have a better match than Shinsuke and Rick Boogs. But yeah, I got the Usos going over. But like I said, I think the Angel and Humberto will have a better match if they were there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go Usos too. Man, there are things on here that I get people aren't excited about, which I just love WrestleMania, but New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland. I don't want to spend too much time in this. I'm not interested in it. I don't know what you guys think.
New Day.
I don't. Yeah, New Day. I don't even think. I personally feel Ridge Holland doesn't deserve a WrestleMania spot at all.
Yeah.
He should be in NXT. I'm sorry. We talked about this already, so I'm not going to get into it. I don't like Ridge Holland on the main roster. I don't think he deserves a spot. New Day all day. If they lose, I riot. I don't care.
All right, I'm going New Day. Here's something too. Now the next two I feel are exciting. Seth Rollins versus vacant or to be announced. Now the big hype. We just want to get that in there. Could we be seeing the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, return to WWE? The forgotten son here. What do you guys think? Kendall, I'll let you start. I know there's some other people are predicting. What do you think?
What I think is, me and you, Dan, talked about it. Gable Stevenson is gonna come out and he's gonna stall for like 10 minutes. And he's gonna be like, where's my opponent? Where's my opponent? Why has my opponent come out yet? Then he's gonna look at Gable Stevenson in the crowd laughing, and he's gonna walk down and be like, what are you laughing at, huh? You POS, what are you laughing at, huh? Huh? He's gonna slap Gable Stevenson. This Gable Stevenson is gonna mess him up, slap him around. Then they're gonna be like, ring the bell, and Gable Stevenson is gonna make Seth tap out. So Gable Stevenson.
Josh, what do you think's going to happen?
I think my boy Seth Rollins here. Shout out to Dylan Bracha. I'm representing you tonight. I think Seth Rollins finally gonna get his payback on a vacant for taking that WWE Championship off him a few years ago. But seriously, I want it to be Cody. As much as that hurts me to say, being an AEW fan, I want it to be Cody. I don't think it is. I think it's Shane. I think it's Shane McMahon. Being Vince McMahon is handpicking the opponent, and now all of a sudden Shane McMahon happens to be in town for WrestleMania 38. I think we're gonna get swerved, and like we're gonna hear "Here comes the money." It's gonna be Shane.
We're gonna hear Goldberg.
But either way, I see Seth Rollins winning unless it's Cody.
I got to be honest. Cody and Gable Steveson would be the only two exciting things. I'm sorry. I love Shane McMahon. He had one of the best returns in 2016. If it is Shane, that's really crappy to do to your audience when you know there's these Cody rumors out there. Do you know what I mean? So if it's not Cody, it would have made sense to just announce who his opponent was. So part of that has me going, maybe it is Cody, but if it's not Cody, I'm with Kendall. The second choice I'd want would be Steveson to show up, make his debut. If it's Shane McMahon, that's really disappointing.
Once again, Gable Stevenson's not a celebrity; he's an employee. Don't say Gable Stevenson's. Oh, he's another celebrity. No, he's an employee.
Yes, Kendall. We know you like celebrity matches. All right, you Danny.
But yeah, no. Again, if it's not Cody, that's really crappy WWE to just not announce the match and not let people hype this, But and here we go, SmackDown Women's Title. Again, we thought it should have been Becky and Ronda just of their history. It's Charlotte and Ronda. Kendall, what are you predicting?
Woo! Charlotte retains.
Josh?
Charlotte retains because I cannot deal with Ronda on the mic. Put her with a manager, and then I'll be okay with her being world champion again.
I'm going to say Ronda because I don't know how you get Ronda to agree to her first match back, a singles match, to be a loss, even though she won the Royal Rumble. So I just can't see her losing or coming back to lose, especially since she's already, like, the last time we saw her, she was pinned, 3 years ago. All right, let's get to night 2 here. Fatal 4-Way. I can't say I'm excited for this either. Again, I'm excited for all WrestleMania, but certain matches just not so much. Fatal 4, women's tag titles. Zelina and Carmella are the champions versus Naomi and Sasha, Ripley and Morgan, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler, who I think it would have been better to have Shayna versus Ronda this year. But again, ever since Shayna's been on the main roster, we've not really seen her potential. Josh, who are you picking?
So I have 2 picks for this. I have reasons for both. Main pick here, just for the sake of making sense, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. These are the 2 that have actually been teaming longer than like 3 weeks. Aside from the champions, obviously, but these 2 have a great dynamic in the ring. They're the only tag team in this match that makes sense to me, aside from Zelina and Carmella. But we've seen some cracks there. I don't see them retaining whatsoever. I truly feel we're going to have new tag champs here. So I think Liv and Rhea. But if it's not them, let it be Naomi and Sasha, and let Sasha get a freaking win at WrestleMania for the first time. My God, please.
Yeah, she deserves it. I mean, yeah, you're right. She hasn't won. Okay.
She's taking the L every time.
Kendall, who you got?
Sasha and Naomi. Give me also your lucky man, by the way. You're a lucky man.
I guess I'll go the same. I'd like to see Shayna. Well, Shayna's already been a tag champ. I just wish they'd do more with her, but I'll go Naomi and Sasha.
That's my girl Nia Jax.
Hey, I think she has an OnlyFans coming out, Kendall. So
I already got my pre-order ready.
All right, we got Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn, which, believe it or not, this is something I'm really excited about. I think Sami Zayn has played this perfectly. I'm gonna go. Johnny Knoxville is gonna beat him. Obviously, the celebrity usually. I know we said that Logan Paul probably won't. I don't think he will win just because he's like a heel in real life. But Johnny Knoxville is a loved celebrity. Nothing can hurt Sami Zayn, honestly. Kendall, who you got?
Sammy, I've been calling you, but Johnny Knoxville.
Josh?
I refuse to let this be a clean sweep. Sami Zayn.
All right.
Just because
okay.
I see him kicking Johnny's head off with a haluva kick. I'm sorry. I don't feel like Sami needs to be taking a loss and then having him beat Johnny Knoxville. The promos that'll follow with him bragging about beating Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania would be mint. So yeah, Sami Zayn, 100%.
All right, that's going to take us into another thing I'm excited. I don't know. Some of these odd matches are exciting. When Pat McAfee gets in the ring, it's usually pretty good. He's going up against, who I think is the future, one of the biggest future stars of this company, Austin Theory. I'll go first on this. I definitely think Pat McAfee is going to win this match, and it's not going to hurt Austin Theory. But I think if Pat loses, it kind of takes. But then you really got two non-wrestlers winning matches. So I'm still going to go with Pat. I don't think that they care. Josh, what do you think?
Pat McAfee. I'm sorry. I love Pat McAfee. I actually wish he would just transition into full-time wrestling and just commentate on the side. Because what he did in War Games, my God, if you haven't seen that match, anybody who's watching, please go watch it. It's literally like one of the best matches in the black and gold era in NXT. I'm not even kidding you, and most of that's because of Pat McAfee. He's got skill. He does. He's not just some dude that talks. This ain't gonna be Michael Cole versus Jerry the King Lawler. It's Pat freaking McAfee versus Austin freaking Theory. It's gonna be a banger of a match. Pat going over.
Kendall, what do you think?
Pat McAfee. Then we see Theory versus Ricochet versus Pat McAfee. Triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship.
I'd like that. I mean, Pat's great on commentary, though. If he were to become a full-time wrestler.
Austin Theory beat Ricochet. Pat beat Austin. So he has some stake of being Intercontinental Champion. So we're going to see a triple threat match.
We got plenty of part-timers in the company. We can have Pat McAfee be champion and just do commentary every week, wrestle once a year. It's fine.
Why not? I'd take it. Another one I'm not too excited about. I do love all these teams. Alpha Academy has really impressed me. Everybody knows I'm not a big fan of triple threat tag matches. And there's a lot of multiple tag teams in a match that I'm not a big fan of that type of stuff. But Kendall, who you got?
RK Bro, all the way.
Josh?
The probably newly heel Street Profits. Because I don't know if anyone picked up on that, but they just kind of came out of nowhere and just started beating the crap out of RK Bro for no reason. Like, that was pretty heelish of the Street Profits. So that's a heel turn for the Street Profits. I'll take it. Put the titles on
them. Yeah, I'm gonna go Street Profits too. They haven't had the titles in a while, and I don't know why they just took. Alpha Academy had the belts and they took them right off them. So. Here's one I think everybody's really excited about. This is a dream match that we probably never thought would happen. AJ Styles spent most of his career in TNA, while Edge had to retire early in 2011. So we never knew that Edge would return to wrestling, and when AJ Styles was with the company. So this is a big dream match here. Josh, who are you going with?
AJ all the way. I think honestly, Edge has done this for the sole reason of AJ needs a good win after that horrendous feud with the totally not future of WWE, Omos. I honestly feel like they've built this feud up to kind of make AJ an underdog. And with Edge, also, side note, hate Edge's new theme. Hate it with fire, burn, passion. I miss Metalingus. I give it back. I think AJ goes over here. just because Edge seems like the type of guy where like he's on his way out. AJ just signed a new deal. I think Edge is going to do AJ a solid. So for that reason, I'm going with the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
Kendall.
I'm going with AJ. Like Doctor said, the whole feud with Omos set him back a little bit. Not really, but he needs to win, and it won't hurt to need to win. But I see AJ pushing it out.
I'm going to go for the clean sweep here. I think it's AJ, and I think Edge probably wants it that way. Could get a little upset here. Speaking of Omos, we got Bobby Lashley returning to face Omos. I really, really hope Omos does not go over Bobby Lashley, but I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. So I'm picking Omos, and I really don't want that. I didn't like Goldberg. Not that I watched the Saudi shows. I didn't like Goldberg going over Lashley. I think Lashley he's one of my favorites, but just like he is one of the monsters of the company, not Omos. Kendall.
Bobby. I don't want. Oh yeah, Bobby, because I'm going to be really upset that Omos goes over, and you're going to try to make him Great Khali 2.0, but I hope Bobby wins.
Josh?
Bobby.
Again, like to preface this, true reaction here. No one wins with this match. Bobby won't win. Omos won't win. The fans surely won't win. This match means nothing to me. My heart is telling me Bobby, but my brain is telling me Omos. I can't. WWE sees something in this man that no one else sees. They were building him up to be this great monster, but like we've already said, this man's basically Great Khali. He's really an off-brand Great Khali because he's the worst version, in my opinion. I think Omos is going to win, but God, do I want Bobby to win?
I think my thing is if Bobby Lashley beats Omos, the Omos experience is over. Experiment, I should say. That's why
I want Bobby to win.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Bobby. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is to actually build up Bobby Lashley, and maybe they feel like this isn't working with Omos. I'm not sure.
Hopefully.
Finally, winner take all. Match of the night. Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion, versus Brock Lesnar, the World Wrestling Entertainment Champion, in a winner take all. I don't like the idea of a winner take all. I would have liked 2 championship matches, but it is what it is. Josh, you got Roman or Brock?
I gotta acknowledge him. The head of the table, the tribal chief. I think he goes over here. While I love what Cowboy Brock is doing over on SmackDown, Raw, whatever show he decides to show up on every week, while I love every minute of it, fact of the matter is, Brock is a part-timer. And while they've done it before, you got to think, whoever wins this match is going to be a champion on 2 different TV networks. And you got to think there's got to be a champion on both them TV networks. And if Brock's only showing up to defend titles against someone on one show every 6 months, I don't know if TV network's going to be too happy with that. I think Roman is the clear choice here. Roman needs to beat Brock at WrestleMania. It's one of the few things that we need. We need heel Roman to beat Brock. We actually need him to smash him. We need to make a clear, definitive statement that Roman Reigns is not Brock Lesnar's female dog, if you all know where I'm going with this. I think Roman has to win this match. I think Roman's built to win this match. I think the storyline is heading for Roman winning this match. So Roman Reigns is my pick for the undisputed Universal Champion of the world for like a week before they introduce a new title on Raw to replace the WWE title. Roman Reigns.
Kendall.
think Roman wins. I don't think they can get the new title though. I just think that they have him carry two belts so they can. So Roman can have that entitlement of I'm dominant. I am the leader mover. Look at me. I got two titles. Um, yeah. So I don't think they introduce the title. I just think they have. I think they have him carry one and Paul carry the other, or have Jay and Uso carry one and Paul and carry the other. And just to build his confidence up and say, hey, I'm the leader mover. I'm the head of the table. I am the tribal chief. Look at me. I got two titles to prove it. And I think he will work Raw and SmackDown. And I don't think he'll hold on to one for long. I think it will be like Seth and the U.S. and WWE Championship. I think he'll hold on to one for like a month, and he'll end up losing it.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I will say, if I were to pick Roman, I would say I'd have Rollins get payback on him for the Rumble and beat him for the WWE title and keep that on Raw. But this is what I actually think is gonna happen. I think Paul Heyman gets involved again, and he misses Brock, and he helps Brock beat Roman Reigns. And somehow, I think there's going to be some interference stuff going on here. I think this match is going to be great. Is this the match that we wanted? Probably not, since they've had this match so many times. But I got Brock Lesnar. I don't know. I think that's who they're going to want to go with. Um, it's going to turn into one of these. Only this is the only credible guy to beat Roman. And to be quite frank, I'm over the Roman title reign. I'm over his predictability. Roman's done his best work. Don't get me wrong. I'm just ready for there to be a little more something I don't expect every week. But yeah, no, guys, I appreciate you coming on. Um, again, Josh, you want to plug your show one more time, where we can find you?
Absolutely. Beyond the Pyro, we film shows every weekend. Again, not this weekend. It is WrestleMania weekend. Every wrestling fan will be preoccupied. So we will not have a show this weekend. We will be back next week. We generally do our shows on Saturday nights, about 7:15, 7:30. Depending on everybody's schedules. You can find us on Facebook. The username thing for Facebook that apparently I just found out existed is at Beyond the Pyro 22. You can find us on Facebook. We're on YouTube, Beyond the Pyro. We're on Twitter at Beyond the Pyro. Pretty on the nose. Definitely tune in, guys. I've had Dan on both episodes. I've had Dan on. I've had Dylan Brach on. All the members of the four families show up in full. We have a great conversation. We kind of go at each other's throats a little bit. So if you want some drama, I assure you there's plenty on BTP as well as Wrestling Fans Unhinged, which I'm sure Kendall's going to plug again. But definitely tune in, guys. The four families got big things in the works. So definitely stay tuned.
Kendall?
As Josh just said, if you want drama, come on down. Not come on that aisle, but come down to Wrestling Fans Unhinged. Follow me on Twitter at FactionCast. Follow me on Instagram at FactionCast1. Like I said, don't have Facebook, but you can contact me through my personal Facebook to get on the show. I will be upgrading my StreamYard soon because I only have 6, so I'll move it up to 10. The four families are on the way to big things, so make sure you support us all. We have 3 of the 4 represented, and as you know, we all are.
The fourth is in spirit.
For life. We are Let Freedom Ring for life. 6-man tag team champions in the house.
All right, well, everybody out there, keep your heads up. Again, this was on Let Freedom Ring, but this is part of the four families here. So big thing out of us. And but everybody out there, continue to keep your heads up and let freedom ring.
Go Cowboys.